Hello, this is an AYD League game that white won on time, even though the groups in the middle and the right side were dead. Well, the group on the right side shouldn't die, and once black captured those stones in the center, black was comfortably ahead already. So if you just go back here, when white captures at c3, this is a little bit careless. White should play a move on the right side. So, wait, yeah, here. The proper move is to go t6. This is a vital point to keep eyes on the right. But black is still ahead and will win the game, normally. So here, black played Atari, and there's still a way for white to leave by sacrificing Atari from behind, Atari again, and then make 2 eyes at s5, which is, of course, very painful. 2 points instead of a 6 points life. So for black here, in order to kill this group, the proper way is to play t6. Because when white goes t7, just Atari and connect, and that's 1 eye. And when white goes s6, you play Atari, and now the only option for white is to fight the call. So this is the proper way to kill the group. Playing this move can actually allow white leave, but okay, in this case it doesn't matter so much. But when you're in a position that the game it's not so clear and black is not so much ahead, it's good to go for at least a call fight, hitting the vital point at t6. So now let's back up and check from the beginning. The Fuseki actually looked pretty promising for white, and also towards the middle game it felt like white is slightly ahead. Then slowly the tables have been turned. So in this position, usually it's very common for white to play either r5 or q5 in order to prevent the second shimari. Of course, it's also good enough to play a shimari in the top left corner, can be any of the corner enclosures, but it tends to be a little bit passive. So usually white will play at least one time in the lower right corner to prevent the second corner enclosure, and then make her own shimari in the top left. So that would be usually the order. But when white plays here, black decides to attack. Of course, black can go for a second shimari and feel good about the position so far, but it's nothing wrong to play f3 or even a Sansan invasion here. So Fuseki wise, it's okay to try to develop much faster, especially when you play black, because you're giving a komi. Therefore, f3 makes sense. Now white falls back very calm, and black plays the modern style, this d3. So far so good. But on the other side, on the other hand, it's nice to take the shimari in the lower right corner because white never approached there. So this variation, it's usually gote for black. Therefore, black doesn't have time to play the shimari also. White keeps pushing, that's nice. White can also play keima, but keima is not necessarily 100% sente. So here black can take the enclosure, and then when white goes down, black will defend the bottom. If white enters the bottom side, black will catch the stone in the center. So it was really a good idea for white to push again at g4. Of course, white can also leave it and just play r5. But then when black turns here, white usually needs to descend. So I'm impressed with this push. It's a powerful move. So black stays ahead, very good. And now the lower right corner approach. This is fine. So calm. Black can also play the keima because it narrows the gap between h3 and the bottom side, the bottom corner at q3. So it's much easier to build this territory later on. But nothing wrong to play p4. Now here in general, for white, it's proper to extend only 2 space jump to set up a base and keep it solid. Because when black approaches r10, white doesn't necessarily need another move here right away and can go for the extension in the top. Playing the move at q9 leaves white a little bit thin on the right side. So when black approaches r11, it feels like white needs another move here, something like b6 for example, or q6, or maybe a double up. But anyway, in the game, white went for the big point, and this is really urgent. So I have a feeling that both white and black are playing very good Fuseki here, so going for the big points rapidly, and that's what you gotta do in the early stage of the game. So far so good, and this k16, it's really an important spot both for white and black. So if white plays another move on the right side just to prevent an invasion, then black is very happy to extend in the top k16 or k17, because now the Shimari has 2 middle side extensions, so it's just ideal. Therefore, white got the big point, then black turns. That's a pretty big move too. Black on the right side can play moves like q6 or b6 or even invade r7. But the turn is actually a powerful move. So white got another extension. And now the jump. This is big too. But it still feels quite interesting to to put some pressure on the right side first. So black jumps, white extends in the top, that's a large point too. White was delaying too much the defense on the right side. N17 it's a large move, but playing something like p6, it's more urgent. Also, this is a kind of move that defends and in the same time prepares an attack on the bottom side. So when black defends here, something like this, to keep the whole bottom side, white also has time to grab the top move. So now black finally puts pressure here. This is very good, then push again. And now, instead of push, black should cut right away. This is actually quite easy to read because the cut is related to r11. So when white cuts, black will just connect to r11. If white pushes here, black connects solid. And when white pushes like this and cuts, you can fight easy on the bottom side and even think about killing the bunch of stones on the right. But actually here, you need to push one more time or jump. So all of a sudden, white has 3 weak groups. In all directions, there are some stones that are bound to die pretty soon. So this cut is an option. Now, when you think about white's options, if white cuts, it's obvious that you're going to connect like this. If white plays Hane, you can simply Nobi and on the push you connect. So already Q9 is separated from the group on the side. And if white tries R9 to connect underneath, you don't allow this connection like that. Simply go down and then on the cut, you turn and again you're connected to R11. And of course, if white plays here, just connect like this and it's a collapse. So white is in big trouble. Now, when you push like this, obviously, you just think about the Moy on the bottom side, but it's still worse to cut. It's just that when you cut now, white's base, it's already much more safe because it's a little bit longer having these 4 stones on the third line. So I can push here once, then Nobi, threatening to cut the 3 stones or to capture the one on the side. And when black goes down, white will look for a I shape in the corner. So similar to what happened in the game. But the cut still works because when white tries this Atari and capture the 2 stones, you can always Atari cut and then capture the white stones faster. So this cut works for black, but white can also fix easily on the right side. Anyway, compared to the game, it's nice to catch this stone. So in the game, black just Hane, which means that black is interested in expanding the bottom Moyo. White plays the turn, double Hane, that's an overplay. White should just Nobi, because if black wants to cut now, it's too late. That double Hane can be punished. And instead of this cut, black should still use the R9 Atari and then drop to the second line at S9. Now white has these 3 stones in the middle, which are heavy, and also the group on the side. So again, white has to struggle to make some I shape. So let's see, we have this Atari, then you gotta extend, that's very good. And now white lives in the corner. Well, white lives quite comfortable, but at least black got Sente and enclosed a nice Moy on the bottom area. This evasion point, it's a little bit questionable. So as an evasion in the top, it's more interesting to play a move like h17, because from h17 you have the option to jump out, to slide to the right, or to extend to the left. But from this kind of move, you can only jump pretty much in the middle, because on the right side there is some space, but white will just block, so there is no more extension to the right. On the left side it's quite busy too. If you play a Tsuke, white just goes down or up, whichever, and then jumping out is pretty much the only way. So you give yourself less chances to run or survive. Therefore, anyway, for black it's interesting to play, for example, an Ogema here and try to enclose this box. It's pretty big, and in the same time it's going to be a Moyo battle because it fights to with the Moyo on the left side. But well, black is impatient to damage something, therefore invasion comes. So when you play a move like h17, If white simply double up, then you have a tsuke, where white usually goes down or up, then you hane once, and then you jump in the middle. So you give yourself more space to get a sabaki in the top. Now, if white attacks from the left side, of course you can always play a one space jump. You can also think about a tsuke, but it also leaves the invasion point at L17. So maybe in this case the best thing to do is jump out and then decide whether you want to slide in the top or you want to invade L17. And if white plays moves like this, like a Kosumi Tsuke, you can bump once, white goes up, and then you're out with a Kosumi or another one space jump. So it's much easier to escape to the middle. White played the right move. Obviously, white is not going to attack from the left because on the left white is strong and there's not so much space for black to expand or extend for a base. And if white plays a cap move, it's easy for black to slide and then tsuke like this in order to create a base in the top. But of course the cap move will give white a lot of potential on the left side. But the most natural move and the most active is this Kosumi block at J17, so black has to jump out. Now before jumping, it's good to consider the tsuke. If white goes up, you have a hane, so already these exchanges help the eye shape a little bit, then jump out like this. But anyway, yeah, black has to jump. Nice idea to cover instead of connecting, because this is just a heavy group. So the cover was good because when white pushes through, you can block first on the right side. Now when white pulls back, you can connect on the cut, Atari, and connect. And now this will hurt white stones in the top. If white keeps going for the stones in the middle, then he may lose a lot in the top. And if white connects in the top, then it's easy for black to come out or turn to the right and then eventually try to save the G15 stones too. Because this way out will also put pressure on white group in the top. So if white cuts here, it's not so great because black is happy to sacrifice with all this Atari and push through on the left side, all those forcey moves, then simply play a Keima and Nobi in order to connect actively. So like this, black really escapes very comfortable and damages a lot in the top. So it's good to think about the hane block at H16. In fact, if white cuts here, it's a happy variation for black. So white will either pull back or cover, and then you can even give up that stone, like it happened in the game, and jump out faster. So hane this way, then block, Atari connect, and defend. It's still interesting actually to save the stone in the top because it will hurt the top group. So on the cut, Atari go out, connect. Then when white connects, you can push like this and jump to the right or just turn. This still puts a lot of pressure on white and then play another invasion on the left side. Don't try to go out with the two stones in the top right away because it will just create a heavy group and now you have two weak groups. So that's a way to keep fighting. When you play this tiger mount, white can peep first. Now when black connects, this is an empty triangle, then white captures a stone. So this creates a pretty heavy group in the middle, then black needs to run out somehow. But white jumps along, which still allows the connection. And this connection is actually pretty large for black, because we'll prepare the invasion at L17. But black attacks the left side. On the left side actually it's still better to play Keima D14 and then a one space jump. Now Atari, hanging connection, white will keep the territory like this. And this group is strong enough to stay alive, so it's actually big to protect the top. Now this move is a bit tricky because white can use E14, which happened in the game, to separate the groups. So black covers, white jumps. Actually here, white should either hane or push again. Black group doesn't look too safe now. So if black plays something like this, white can push and cut here. On the turn, just capture and connect. When this move happens, go down. And there's still a problem with the cuts in the center. I mean, in the middle of that Keima shape. So white kind of gave up the fight, or well, is trying to kill everything on a large scale, but that's a little bit too much. Should go for a tail first. Now it's proper for black to play Atari from behind. If white plays any move around here, trying to kill the group, it's nice for black to capture 2 stones in center and then look for a base like this. It's not so easy for white to surround and kill that group anymore. But this way, white can still go out. So when you play a move like this, that can be a problem. Atari, now you start giving stones, because the situation is not so great anymore. So white went down. The Tesuji on the left side is this clamp. When white pulls back, you can play a 1-space jump. And then from this jump, you jump again to b10. Therefore, white has to block here. If white comes out, you're happy to sacrifice that stone because you get all these forcing moves in center and then jump along. Good to remember that Tesuji, the clamp at b15. And followed by the driving Tesuji. So now black extends, but this Atari is still important. Somehow black managed to connect those stones, yeah, with this schema. Now block. Well, if Atari here and white plays this move, you capture 2 stones. If white turns, you block, so you can give 1 stone and then fly out with the group. So now the group is safe. Actually here, black can turn, because when white cuts, you have Atari, Atari, and catch. Or instead of turn, it's okay to play a move like this, to make some shape. Because when you just connect in this way, white can still push and cut. So the group in the top can be in trouble. But white blocked. And now instead of Atari, it's more interesting to play this Atari. Because if white goes Atari from the left side, you just take a Ponuki, so the position is much stronger. And if white comes out, you play 1 Atari like this, and then you connect. And now there is still Aji on the left side, so white might take the stone, which actually gives black center, and you can go for the moyo. So it's more interesting to play the driving style Atari, just to create Aji in white's position. So white connects, yeah, black fixed that shape. Keima is very good, it's a good move for both. So if white plays away, black will take it immediately. Then black keeps the bottom. Actually here, the group in the top is still in trouble, so black should jump again. On this Atari you need to connect, on this peep you need to block, on this peep again connect. Then white will play here, black needs to jump along. And well, white will try to reduce the bottom, but even if you just block on the 5th line, it's still a lot of territory, but it's proper for the top group to be safe. So now can be more dangerous. I mean, the bottom is quite nice, but yeah, you still need to run out. Then a Hane at K8 can hurt, and that will happen. Yeah, this is good. Keep most of the side. Hane, that's fine. Okay, Nobi, all fine. Atari. But then you don't have to play K4, because you can capture the stone by playing H5 or by playing G5. There is no way for white to cut here, it's self-Atari. And it doesn't matter if white goes Atari here, then push again, and this Atari. He can play all these Ataris. In fact, in this case, she can play all these Ataris, but in the end, nothing happens. Black still keeps the bottom side. So it's a much better way to play G5, because this will enter the left side. It's a defense that it's quite active. So when white plays away, black can capture this stone, then threatens to catch 4 more. Or if you don't get to capture that stone and white goes down, then you can still reduce the left side by playing a Keima and a Nobi and so on. So usually when you play a Gote move, it doesn't have to be a Gote that loses points, like K4. You better play a move which makes more points. So think about this kind of aspect. I mean, usually this kind of Nobi, it's more like a reflex. You play Atari and extend, and in this case, white is in a net. But when white plays this move, threatening to save the stone, black needs to come back and protect again, then white can Nobi and builds more on the left side. But if you have this stone on the board and white plays here, you're not going to play inside that K4, but you try to get inside black's territory or play any other move. So that was slack. K4 shows that black is confident with his territory, and it's enough to win the game. Okay, jump and save the group. Here black should go up, because those stones are in trouble anyway. When you capture the stone, it's actually what white wants to happen, so white can play Atari from behind and Atari again. All these forcing moves feel good for white. But once you go up, white is in trouble. If white plays a move like S15, you can just cover and try to kill everything. Like this or like this. So therefore, shouldn't allow all these Ataris. Now white is out, but the shape is still quite heavy. Yeah, this was good. That move is not necessary. It's more interesting to play the Hane, because it creates more Aji. So if white plays here, you have the clamp in the top. If white blocks, you have Atari. But it doesn't work to push and cut, because white can throw in an Atari from behind, and the group is in shortage of liberties. This move actually protects against the cut, but it's better to play, oops, not the MT, the jump. So when white pushes, you just block. Yeah, in fact, it's quite proper to play here, because the group in the top can still be in danger. But the Han is center once. If black tries this cut, sorry, white will push and cut. Even if this happens, black can actually still fight here. So things can be quite bad for white now. There are too many cutting points to protect. One here and everywhere. But yeah, black starts to be ahead, so connect. This Atari, when it's played like that and white defends, it's Sente, but white can still ignore. And when you capture from C4, even if it's Gote, it's much bigger. But black should actually play Hane G7 and then think about the cut at C4. Oh, so white gave up the stone. But white can just connect actually, and then when black pushes, white blocks and the formation is much stronger. If white wants to defend here Gote, it's better to save the stone. Or don't play anything. Like when white goes here and black captures, now white can play another move. But this way, white decided to take Gote and also lose some points. So it's similar to Atari here. White plays Atari under, black captures, white pulls back. And this is a Gote variation for white. Instead, white can go down, block here, and Atari from the outside, so sacrifice just to take Sente. According to the proverb where add another move and sacrifice both. So this happened, that's good. Yeah, that's an option too. But yeah, it's okay to connect here. No cut. This is big. And this is not necessary. Because if black pushes here and then cuts, it's the same thing. Throw in, Atari from the outside, and catch. So with or without that move, black still can't cut. That was big. This is important. Kosumi is big too. Oh, why should actually just block? And the Atari can be played later. Because on this Atari, black can give up that stone. That's a false eye. And then continue like this or Keima to reduce the eye space. So that was wishful Atari and it worked. This cut is so big. So how can white defend? How about Kosumi here? On the peep, just connect. When Hane block, when cut, peep, connect and capture the stone. So there is no cut here. And also when black pushes like this, no way to cut the left side either. White is fine. So up to this point, the game was pretty much 50-50. Maybe feels a little bit better for black with a huge bottom side, but once black captures these stones, it's so big. And the way white played just gave the stones on a larger scale, so white should push from behind several times and then protect. Like this, it's a minimum capture for black, but this way, black went out and captured more. So that was really good. It was to play here, the bamboo connection. On this move, just Atari, and on this move, connect. But anyway, difficult. Oh, This just gave more points. So really difficult for white to come back. Yeah, this consume is big. You better capture, and then if if white plays Atari from behind, you don't do anything. So you play Hane here on this cut, you can Atari once, then Atari again, then Atari here, and capture everything. Or of course, just take the 2 stones. But playing like this, white can just play away, because anyway there is no cut. Therefore, white got center. So white doesn't capture this stone for 1, 2, 3 points. It's 3 points got there. That's why white blocks the top. Hane here is not necessary. Let's say you play this Hane. When white goes Q18, you connect. When he goes here, you block. When he goes here, you can throw in, then block, then Atari from the outside. It's a got a variation for white. It's not so big. It's like 5 points damage. That's big. This Atari doesn't do much. Oh, it's good enough to block and keep center. Because in the end, it's pretty much the same, but... So here it was to play the Hane. When cut, Atari once, Atari again, then Atari 2 stones. Yeah, if Hane here, white will cut, and when you Atari like this, white can Atari from behind, but first take the call. Also an option. So that would damage more. Oh, now it was to play the Hane. If white cuts, you cut and you fight the call. There's nothing to lose in the call. Therefore, white will connect here, then you block, and white will also play this move. And then you can Hane or cut first and Atari. So there will be no call at the end in this area. So now here, Atari, that's good. Then for white, it's actually proper to play Q4. White will leave with 2, 4, 6, 8 points this way, compared to what happened in the game, where white was supposed to leave with 2 points. Because now, white's only option is to sacrifice. But somehow, white missed that and died big. And here, before Atari, black should take the call. On this Atari, connect and keep fighting the call. Or another option is to go down and then capture the call. So like this will maximize the profit in the corner. Atari like that. Then unfortunately, time loss. Yeah, obviously black has to block, white connects, and then you count the points. And black leads by a lot. Well, quite a spectacular game this time. Congrats on both for the Fuseki and the middle game, and a little bit lucky kill on the right side for black. Better luck next time.